Oh, yes. Here I am again. Good evening and welcome to Timeless Obsession Live. I got a new setup for the folks that are likely on Instagram. I got some new portrait situation going on. I don't know if this is actually working. If someone has a good view, give me a thumbs up. But we're going to get straight to the point here. Let me just move a couple things over. It's going to be a good one. It's been an incredible week. And while I can't really disclose every situation that I have been in, it's been probably one of the more important weeks, last 6, 7 days of I don't want to say of my life, but definitely of the year 2025. So, anyways, welcome back, everyone. I'm Dean Barlage, and this is Timeless Obsession Live. So, there's always a few folks that are new or that know me, but they've never seen this stuff before. And here's what you should know. It ain't about some quick motivation. You can leave right away, turn off the stream. You can maybe listen to some stuff later when the recording goes up on Spotify or on YouTube, whatever you like. But it ain't about hype, and it's definitely not about empty positivity. It's not about good vibes only. I think folks that know me know how direct I am, but it's all about real talk. We talk discipline like we did last week, the code of discipline. We talk about responsibility, purpose, action. We talk about the mindset it takes to build a life that you're proud of, that you have a fulfilled purpose, that you stand behind, not that you live your life and you're kind of like, all right, scattered by, coasted through it. It's okay. No, got to be proud of it. It might be challenging. It might be more easy in some parts, but you gotta create something where you're proud of and with your head held high. So, like I said, last week, we broke down the code of discipline, and that went a little deep for some people. And we talked about how consistent action becomes freedom. Okay. Before that, I talked about the power of positivity, which is kind of like one of my most favorite things to do, because positivity is not some emptiness where you're like I said, good vibes only, and this kind of like, oh, everything is great. No, it's quite the opposite. It's going through a tough time, through hardship and all that kind of stuff. And then knowing, thinking, hoping, believing that you come out better. It's the thought about the tunnel. It's dark, it's empty, it's lonely, it's difficult, all that kind of stuff. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what real positivity is about, what the power of positivity was about. The earned positivity, not that fake Instagram version. So tonight, go a little deeper. We go more towards the root of it all. The root of every comeback, the root of every dream, of every transformation that folks that you might have ever admired. Tonight is about belief. It's probably the most important thing for people to go after. The kind that doesn't disappear when life gets challenging, when life gets hard. The kind that doesn't crumble when people doubt you. The kind that when you're having a tough time, the kind that grows in the dark, when everything else around you just seems like it's falling apart. You're going through that storm and you think you'll never survive, you'll never come out of this. This is not to like sound a little depressing or anything like that. No, it's reality. This is life and everyone goes through it. And the funny thing is, I chat with a lot of folks, and I reached out today and I was so surprised about something, the reaction that I've received, where I was really grateful for the reactions of that. But believe is when things look, belief is easy when things are good. I think we can get to that point. It's very similar to positivity, right? Belief, when everything is falling apart, is where the winners are made. It's the ultimate code. So you guys know how I think about some writers from the 18 or 1900s, and one of them is Napoleon Hill. I don't necessarily like the title of the book because rich and riches can have total different meaning, not in monetary value. But Napoleon Hill wrote the bestseller Think and Grow Rich. But what he wrote as well is very similar to what many others, the greats of the world, have written and said before: is whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And tonight we're going to talk about the belief that builds champions, saves relationships, it restores confidence and transforms ordinary men and women into people that finally become leaders. And I don't think this episode is going to be a soft episode or some feel good episode, but it's all about truth. So this is a truth episode. It's an episode that is going to maybe offend you a little bit. It's going to wake you up, maybe even a little bit more. But one of the most important thing is it's honest. And that's the backbone of timeless obsession. So we'll go right to it. I've written down a couple of things over here. And the first part is I wrote this down: the heart of belief. So it might actually sting a little bit right now. Okay. But I'm going to ask y'all a question. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? Why should anyone else believe in you if you don't even believe in yourself? And that's not judgment, it's reality. And I know it definitely stings a few people, hits them a little bit harder than they might like. You can't ask the word to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously. You can't expect support from people or anything if you don't even support your own dreams. You can't ask for loyalty if you won't even stay loyal to your own goals. So again, it sounds a little bit repetitive, but I've done this before where I'm just holding the mirror right in front of you. So that's where belief starts, in the mirror, always. And I said this earlier, like, it's easy to believe when life is easy, right? Like, it's when everything is going well and stuff. All right. But belief when life is easy isn't belief. Anyone can believe when life feels good, when the money's right, the business is clean, the relationships are going well, it's all smooth, your plan is working. Oh, yes. That's not belief. It's comfort. That's your prison. And real belief shows up when everything falls apart. It's a little kind of in the same boat as discipline. It all kind of hangs together, all these topics. And that is exactly the core of timeless obsession. And I don't want to say I created something new. It's just raising some form of awareness that it's still within you, even though that you're maybe going on autopilot, coasting on autopilot. Okay, day in, day out, wake up, eat, sleep, repeat. No, 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 no. What are you doing in between that? What's going on? When the dream gets quiet, the progress slows down. And I've noticed that. I am the example. I'm literally the example of all of that kind of stuff. When doubt screams louder than hope, it's not about wishful thinking or hoping with no end game towards it, but belief can become a weapon, a tool, maybe a lifeline. So I wrote down a couple more questions, and it's maybe a spicy question, right? So what if you're not stuck, but you're just too much of a pussy to bet on yourself? Again, Dean ruffles some feathers. I don't really care. I'd rather be honest. Sometimes the block is not life, it's hesitation. It's this waiting game. And there we go. There goes my camera. Let's fix this real quick again. It's very similar where belief is a muscle. It's like positivity, right? It's the fear of your own potential. That's what's going on. And if you treat it like a muscle, I believe you're going to come out better of it. Because folks say it's like luck, right? Belief, and people think belief is luck or talent, genetics, and all this kind of stuff. But it ain't that. It's a muscle, and muscles can get pushed and grow under pressure. You got to train it. Just like positivity, just like discipline. Because under pressure, we can create diamonds. So you build belief by keeping promises to yourself, right? I wrote something down over here. It's like you build belief by keeping promises to yourself, by showing up when it's uncomfortable, by doing the right thing when no one's clapping, right? These are a lot of quotes that or sentences that I've written down in the past that I'm collecting because they're very, very true. And every time you follow through with those things, with those sentences in the real world, well, you strengthen your self thrust and self trust. So every time you break your own word, because we say we're men of our word, well, you weaken that, right? So a lot of people think they lack motivation. It's not about motivation, they lack trusting themselves. That self trust is so, so, so important. And well, one thing is absolutely incredible because of the film industry about Sylvester Stallone, for example, right? But I'll get to that in a moment. But why would everyone? It's another spice question. I have it written down over here. Let me just find it for a second. Um, why? Let me see. There we go. Why would anyone believe in your dream if you treat it like a hobby? If you don't act like it matters, nobody else will either. Belief is not spoken, belief is demonstrated. And it's funny, someone in German over here, it's funny, it's live. I didn't even see the chat. And people are like, hey, why don't you tell a little bit more about my story, how I came to LA? Well, the number one thing is I had to have belief like nobody else. I had help, but I believed that it was all possible. But a kid from a city, from a town that is going to move and live his life and create his life on the other side of the world, I believe that is something maybe extraordinary, maybe very realistic and simple if you carry the belief and you have the power of positivity with you when you have the discipline to follow through and you don't get distracted by certain things that just want to take you off your path. But I'll talk about that some other time. But this is not about me. This exact stream over here is not about me. Even though some folks might have questions, it might even seem inspiring because I'm a foreigner, an immigrant that then became a citizen and I'm living my life to the absolute 110% of my desires in the US, in LA. But again, I'm trying to perhaps inspire, to make people aware of a couple things that they're going through in their own life and maybe just push them, maybe offend them a little bit in the most positive of ways, but just so they start thinking about a couple things that they don't need to be coasting through life without any passion or without any purpose. It's okay to get uncomfortable because when we get uncomfortable, we can become unstoppable. And I wrote down the story of a Sylvester Stallone because the funny thing is, we applaud all these people that are celebrities and we go to the movies and we support their businesses. But why don't we do that with friends? Why don't we support our friends like that? The only thing we do is we clap when babies can start walking, right? But that's kind of more or less the most normal thing on the planet. But when someone opens a business, the first thing is, ah, I don't know, that's going to happen and stuff like that. But the thing is, these people have the belief that they can succeed. But if all that negative energy around them from friends, acquaintances, etc., well, that at a certain point can trump the belief of succeeding. So it's a very challenging part. But let's go back to Stallone, Sylvester Stallone, and it's the best example. Everyone knows Rocky, but not everyone knows the story behind Rocky, where Stallone was broke and he was rejected over and over again, not by some, by every studio. He was rejected by every single studio. He was told in his face he was wrong, that he was not good enough, that his voice was bad, his accent, hey, 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 he couldn't act. None of the above. The funny thing is, just recently, Jacob Elrodi in Frankenstein, I thought the movie was great, also was told by an acting teacher, you'll never make it. And now look, it's a hit. The guy's going to become a superstar. But Sylvester Stallone even sold his dog to pay the bills. His dog. He was not at the bottom. He was below the bottom. He loved his dog, but he had no other way anymore to move forward. And imagine that moment. Imagine that pain. It's like the belief in that moment, it doesn't fade when it's dark. It sharpens. And when Rocky wrote that, or Stallone wrote that Rocky script in 3 days. This is a true story. I'm just reciting it over here. Studios wanted the script, but they didn't want Sylvester Stallone. They didn't want him. They offered big money if he'd walk away from that role. Money that he desperately needed. What did he do? He said no. His belief was much, much stronger. His belief was not for sale. Rocky gets made. Stallone becomes Stallone. An icon is born because one man believed when nobody else would. And then the Rocky speech, where it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Forward is belief. And it's just one of those few examples. We can talk about so many because we idolize, we glamorize particular celebrities, which is honestly one of the most pathetic things. It might be inspiring, but it also separates people from actually wanting to achieve something because they'll always just think these are some folks that are gods, etc. But they become idolized. But it's possible for every single person. And I see it maybe not on a daily basis, but definitely on a weekly or monthly basis with people that are around me, friends, acquaintances, clients, etc. It's not the belief when you're winning, but the belief when you're on your knees and everything inside is just saying, yeah, this might be the end. But you, with the fire inside, with your mind, you're just, when you have the belief, you say no, just get up, just keep going. So I have another spicy question. I have a whole bunch of stuff kind of prepared. It might take even a little bit longer. We're going to separate this in two parts. Now, if you gave just 10 more percent belief, how different would your life look? Not 10% more effort, not 10% more talent, just 10% more belief. Because most people are just a decision away. It's all about decision making, left or right. Which road, which path are we going to take? Which journey are we going to go on? And the thing is, they just don't believe they're capable of making certain decisions. That is the tough situation. And I think most folks will actually, you know what, over here I have a couple examples. Maybe you like some folks, maybe you don't like some folks, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to bring it up over here. I have a separate thing. Empires. Why would you not be able to build an empire? Maybe your focus is not there. Maybe you just don't have the aspiration to do it or the desire. But the belief should be, again, like I said, number one. Michael Jordan. Great example. He got cut from his high school team. He didn't quit. He believed. Tom Brady, obviously, definitely not the first round pick. I think everyone knows the situation and the story from him. What happened to Oprah Winfrey? She got fired. She got told, hey, you're unfit for TV, but she believed in herself anyways. So you guys know where she stands. One of the most, two further ones that I have over here. You guys know it. You know Walt Disney. He was fired. This is I try to like have the reasonings here highlighted. Walt Disney fired for lack of imagination. He believed in his vision more than others believed in his flaws. And last but definitely not least, she's a very outspoken lady, and this lady definitely went through some hardship. Where I have so much respect for her. I don't necessarily care personally too much about the stories, but they've moved millions and millions of people. And this is J.K. Rowling. She was rejected. She was broke at absolute rock bottom, but she believed in the story inside her heart, inside her mind. And that story is just legend, a global legend. With Harry Potter, she's created a huge brand, positive world for kids and adults alike. So the thing is that belief is not optional. It's the turning point for people. So what if the world doesn't doubt you as much as you doubt yourself? Because sometimes the enemy isn't your circumstances, it's your own disbelief. It's the little negative inside you that causes to shoot yourself in the foot, basically. And the same thing happens in relationships. Oh, maybe I'm not good enough for her, right? Certain things like that. I don't I can't even think like that. I don't know how it is, but I know because I deal with people, talk to them about it, about relationships, business, etc. But believe in relationships matters very, very much too. That you can grow with a partner, that you're going to build something much stronger than any storm that's going to come across your way, any hardship. You got to have that same exact belief, because relationships break when the belief is not there anymore. But relationships also heal when the belief returns. So it doesn't matter what you bring up, really. If it's relationships, if it's business, if it's whatever, really, friendships. When you have an aspiration for entrepreneurship, and, you know, it's the same thing that I said earlier. Anyone who wants to start a business or start anything new, well, they're doubted. They're doubted. It's disbelief of other people, but your belief has to be so much stronger. So belief keeps you in the game. Discipline keeps you moving forward. So it's a combination that I believe is just unstoppable. And a couple of combinations like that will make people very successful, make people very fulfilled in life. But just one or just the other isn't going to be enough. And that is the straightforward talk over here, because it's not just like some hopeful nonsense that I'm trying to share with folks. You got to do the work, and the work is hard. I talked to some psychiatrists, psychologists, clinical psychologists, therapists, and we have very in-depth conversations. And they're business associates. I'm not their client. They're not my client, but we do share beliefs, ideas, and everything going forward. And sometimes it goes a little bit more in depth. We try to find solutions to particular problems. And sometimes they're a little bit more scientifically straightforward. And other times they might be a little bit more about belief. I think that if your dream, I talked about dream big, I have a poster over there about it. If your dream matters, why do you treat it like a backup plan? Oh, because you're scared, because you're embarrassed about it. You don't have forever. Time is limited. Time is very, very, your time on this planet is very, very limited. But you have today. And maybe you have tomorrow as well. So Why do you not move like your future depends on it? That to me sometimes is absolutely crazy, that people are just so, they have such a lack of trying to find the word. There's just the importance maybe that's lacking for people. And you know what? I catch myself too. I already told you guys, I'm not a hypocrite. I get my ass way too comfortable on the couch maybe sometimes. And if it's not today, I'll do it tomorrow. But I do think we all have that. That's human nature. We've been conditioned. We've been conditioned in that way. But belief does make the impossible possible. Because I told you guys, life is a gift. It's a gift. A lot of folks are, yeah, life is challenging and life is hard. Yeah. Life is a gift. Believe in the impossible, because the impossible is possible. Every breakthrough that we've had in history was once called impossible until someone believed enough to try again. Look up the story from Henry Ford. Look up the story from the V8 engine. It's very simple. 6 months. He long story short, he assigned people, hey, sir, this is impossible. Okay, I want it anyways. 6 months, nothing. Money, time, effort, etc. The company was going broke. Weeks after that, nothing. Boom. At a certain point, oh, sir, we did it. That's the short version of the story. But that is possible. Those things are possible, but you got to think a little bit bigger. We have geniuses like an Elon Musk. Okay, we're going to live on Mars. No one can imagine that. But this guy can, because he has solar energy. That's how we're going to power everything. Oh, we have robots who are going to build that whole thing out under the ground on Mars, because it's better to live underground because of the atmosphere on top of Mars. Oh, we're going to have electric cars. They're going to move us around from one side to the other. Oh, how we're going to do that? Because of the Boring Company. Look, at a certain point, it becomes very straightforward, but no one can imagine certain things if their belief is not big enough. When you stay within the realm of your four walls and you just keep the caps on your eyes like a horse, your spectrum, your wide spectrum, it just narrows down and your belief shrinks. It is honestly disgusting. It is disgusting. I don't know if that's social media, mainstream media, schools, or anything like that, but the belief to think bigger, it's important, guys. It's really, really important. And I have one more little thing over here, and it's like, sure, when life hits, belief is gonna hit back. You got to trust it. You got to really, really take it to the heart, to the core, because life will hit you. I hear it. That I hear every freaking day. All different types. It will hit you hard, unexpected, unfair. It's what I hear a lot too. It's not fair. They can do this or they have this. I'm like, focus on yourself. You're responsible for your own shit. Yeah. But believe is your counterpunch. I believe it will get better. I believe that we're going to come out of this actually stronger, et cetera, et cetera. Believe is that moment, like Rocky said, all right, we're not going to stay down. We're going to get back up. Believe is the quiet voice that says, all right, get the fuck up. Your story is not done. Your journey is just unfolding. So you survived. Again, I have a little intermission, tiny intermission, and then we continue again over here with another setup. I have no idea what this issue is, but some streaming program. I have a little write-up prepared over here, and this is parts that I've taken from books that I've been reading over the last, let's say, 6-7 months, kind of on and off. And I've taken verses from poems. I've taken verses from songs, prayers, all that kind of stuff, and somewhat combined it a little bit. So I wrote down, you survived the days you thought would break you, all of them. You're still here, which means you're not done. You still have purpose, you still have strength, and you still have chapters to write. Stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Stop hoping for permission. Stop begging for validation. You are the permission. You are the signal, and you are the moment everything can change. Always bet on yourself. Move with that fire that you have inside and protect your dream. Keep standing tall and lead from within, from your core. And when life hits, hit it back with belief so strong that it scares your doubts into silence. Because belief is not mindset. Belief is your weapon for your own protection, your advantage, and for your destiny. And when you finally decide to believe with your whole heart, nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, can stop you. I'm Dean Barlage. This is Timeless Obsession Live. See you next week.